Transplant kind of just does whatever they want to do whenever they feel like doing it. They don't really care about the people, right? They try to trick you into believing that your voice matters, but it doesn't really. They try and they manipulate you into believing that you can get a call at any time simply because you're on the transplant list, and that's a lie. That's not true. There is a certain allotment of time that they put on each patient, and that time differs from patient to patient. So, and they're going to make you wait that full amount of time before they even think about giving a transplant to you. So let me give you an example of what I'm referring to. So for me, they say with my type of blood, for UC Davis, I have a 6.5 year wait. Now, this is not a 6.5 year wait like while waiting for a transplant. It's a 6.5 year wait of waiting time that I have to accumulate before they even think about giving me a transplant. So they're going to wait me out for 6.5, almost 7 years before they even consider it. Then after that, there's no guarantee that they're going to give you a transplant after the 7 year wait. So the 6.5 years that they're making me wait, and UC Davis is literally making me wait 6.5 years for this, is just the entry fee. We're not even talking about actual wait time for the transplant. And then you go on their website, they do the most minuscule amount of transplants they could possibly do. Then they go on their website and they pat each other on the back. They applaud. This is how transplant does things. It's unacceptable that one person should have to wait this long for a transplant. And staying on the topic of UC Davis, not only are they going to make me wait 6.5 years just as an entry fee to be considered for a transplant, right? They still have the option of putting more years on me. Then if you do get cleared, if you do get the call for a transplant, well, UC Davis has an exercise routine that they need you to do. And if you can't do it, then guess what? You ain't getting a transplant. Dealing with UC Davis has been, or transplant in general, but mostly UC Davis, has been one of the most frustrating experiences I've ever had trying to get this. And they claim that they want to help the people. UNOS, OPTN, CPMC, they claim they want to help the people, but then everything that they do is completely counterintuitive to wanting to do that. So with CPMC, which I am also on their donor list, 4 years is the maximum amount of time that, for me, I had to reach in order to be considered for transplant. Now, I've reached that time. I've well exceeded that time for them. But they still have the option to make me wait more time. And my suspicion is that they're going to make me wait the full 6.5 or 7. That's my fear. Because I'm already at 4.5 with them. And one of the things that frustrates me about this whole process is they try to make it seem like them making you wait for this is not a big deal. That you should be happy about it. That you should be excited about the prospect of another year passing and you not getting a transplant. And then them hiding things from you and lying to you about crucial things and crucial information that you want to know. So that way you have something that you can hold on to. And there's nobody to talk to because they're all in it together. The transplant coordinators don't have a boss that they can talk to, that you can talk to as a patient, because they're all friends. You know, they're going to be double-fisted at the fucking Christmas party this year. You know what I'm saying? There's no, like, UNOS doesn't care. And OPTN doesn't care either. You're going to get some, if you try to contact them about mistreatment of patients or deceit, bending the truth, or just flat out lying right to your face about information that you're asking for, there's no consequences. They're going to send you some automatically generated email. And that's going to be the end of it. There's not going to be any investigation. There's not going to be any demerits. There's not going to be any repercussions. A lot of transplant centers, transplant adjacent, OPTN, UNOS, all of them, right? They have it's us versus them mentality. It feels like, well, it's your job to get the transplant, and as the transplant center, it's our job to try to stop you. And I'm not going to go into some diatribe about like race, but you can't tell me that race isn't a factor, because race is a factor in everything, especially when it comes to transplant. And I've said this before in videos, and I'll say it again. Transplant centers want to give transplants to people that they feel like have futures. And if you're buying into the stereotype that blacks don't have a future, or they don't have anywhere to go, they're not going anywhere, why would they want to give a transplant to me if they think that I don't have a future? Stereotypically, white patients, according to the stereotype, have more upside than black patients do. So now you have a situation where on the transplant list, like the national transplant list for UNOS, there are more African Americans on the transplant list than any other race, but they're the ones that are getting served the least. And it's not, me bringing this topic up is not just a one-time thing, it's an all-the-time thing. And I'm going to keep bringing it up because it's a real thing. I literally had time added to my wait time because I was an African American, meaning they added the time onto my wait time, which makes my wait time shorter for the entry fee wait time that they want me to wait. That makes any sense? It does matter. And they hold these events that allow patients to voice their comments. It's just bullshit. They don't really care about your opinion. They just want you to believe that you have a voice, but you really don't. At the end of the day, they're going to make whatever decision they want to make that best benefit them. So twice a year, OPTN lets the comments open. They like open up the floodgates for comments. So that way you could say to them whatever you want to say. But here's the caveat to that. They only want you to say things that they agree with, right? They don't want the angry patients, the frustration. They don't want to hear about the sadness and the despair and the trauma. They don't want to hear about that. They want the even-tempered, questions that are literally about nothing. They don't want to hear about the real stories. They don't want to hear the real anger. They don't want that. Well, you listen, we left the comments free, but, don't get too spicy because we vet all of these comments. And if we don't like anything that you say, then we're just going to not post it, and we're just not even going to entertain the idea of answering the question. The way transplant operates right now is a joke. And unfortunately, it's the only way that somebody can get a transplant to feel better is to go through all of this. And a lot of times, it's not fair. And I'm willing to bet that if you look throughout history, there's a lot of patients that have probably got shafted by transplant But you know what? Hey, they're just forgotten by time. No, we transplants like, oh no, we don't talk about them. Right? We only want to put our success stories of the patients that we choose to the forefront because they look good on our website or they look good on our pamphlets. And we know they're going to put us over because we save their lives. When in reality, they're just dragging ass. And while they're dragging ass and they're picking and choosing which patients that they want to help and they want to save, there's thousands of patients dying every year waiting for this. And for whatever reason, that's an acceptable number for UNOS and OPTN.